and welcome back to another episode of I've Heard It Both Ways.
Both ways.
A podcast that's bringing it home.
Aha!
What did I want to say? No, that's fine. I'm going to
well, that goes into my topic, actually. It's just been the World Cup.
Yeah.
Probably when this episode released, it'll be 2 weeks or after. And England got into a bit of a World Cup craze, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
Was it that much different from like the usual craze that England gets
into? Of course it was, because this time England football team made it to the semi-finals.
True.
And that never usually... Well, that hasn't happened since 1990.
Yeah.
And that was my first ever World Cup I remember.
Well, that was definitely different, but before we got to the semis... Yeah, it was the same old.
No, but I think there was no expectation this time because it was one of the youngest teams in the tournament. New manager, people were just like, let's see what happens. As opposed to before it was like the golden generation with Gerrard and Lampard and then he didn't do anything.
Exactly.
And last time they got in the Euros, they got knocked out by Iceland. So.
Yeah, true. I like that. So the expectations were lower. Actually performed a lot better. Yeah, all right. So that was what was different.
And I loved it. And the weather's been absolutely brilliant in London as well.
Yeah, true.
So there's a lot of outdoor drinking.
Yeah,
and
outdoor viewing.
It's been great. I love it. It's great every 4 years. It has to stick to every 4 years as well because it'd be too overkill, wouldn't it? But every 4 years, I love the World Cup. Yeah. I'll just watch every single game. Yeah. I don't care. Saudi Arabia versus Egypt. Yeah, I watch that. I don't care.
But to be honest, all the games were good this time around. I think even small teams playing other small teams, really enjoyable matches.
Yeah, it was so good. And then as England developed, as they progressed, towards the semi-finals. I think it got a bit to the English heads.
Yeah.
And my topic is called The Problem with Supporting England.
I like it.
Yeah.
I love it. What do you mean it got a bit to their heads? Because once you make it through the knockout stages and you made it into the quarters and you made it into the semis, what should you be down on your team? No, you should have some sort of expectation.
Definitely you should be celebrating the victory. But just by what I've seen on Twitter and a lot of friends abroad, and I've got a few friends that are foreign as well. England they just like to take it a bit too far. England fans, obviously, not only a small amount, but then they make a big noise.
All right.
So the first thing, if you remember, when England beat Sweden, there's an Ikea shop down the road from us where we are now, and
what did they do?
The England fans. Did you see it?
No.
Put it on the show notes.
Yeah.
Idiot England fans went in there, and they started jumping on the beds in IKEA, started wrecking all the stuff, going, saying it's coming home, it's coming home. And you just saw the staff just going, "What are you doing?" Everyone running in.
It's so funny because the staff in the IKEA, they're not Swedish, are they?
No,
they're not Swedish.
Not Swedish.
It's Johnny from down the road.
Exactly.
It's Barry that works in IKEA.
Barry's in IKEA going, I really want to join in with you, but you've all got cameras out. But then that's really embarrassing, for that to happen, because that's vandalism, man. And then, and it's because it's IKEA, they're Swedish, let's trash it,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
I assumed you were going to tell me a story about England fans out there in Russia. But this is just England fans in the
But the thing is though, it is better than last tournaments, because then it's all about England fans behaving badly abroad. But no hooligan's going to go to Russia and start trouble. Come on, man. You know,
destroyed. Yeah. This was actually when England fans went out to begin with. Weren't they a little bit more like somber and reserved? Like they weren't even bringing out their flags or wearing their England shirts.
Yeah, I didn't
unless they were off to the game. They even specifically said that for journalists who were reporting on it. But I think as confidence grew, they got a little bit more.
Yeah.
They wanted to show that they were England fans a little bit more. And more.
It was specifically as well, I think, the Sweden game, like getting to that part and then get into a semi-final. I think that's when like everyone was wearing. I was wearing my England shorts. You know, I was just like you were really enjoying it. But then also after that game, people went to the streets and they started celebrating.
Yeah. I heard a couple of roads had to get shut down. They wouldn't let the traffic go past.
And did you hear about the ambulance car as well?
No.
Some people decided to jump on it, and there's lots of video of them jumping on the ambulance car. So it was out of use. And then,
I missed that. They're pricks.
It was because they couldn't use it anymore.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Is this
they were
an ambulance car that was at a venue where there were England fans?
No, on the street.
Coincidentally, it was going by.
Yeah, and then they took over a street. I think it was in Borough.
Yeah, exactly. That's one I know about.
Yeah, and it's just on the street, and they just started jumping up and down. I think the police released a tweet saying like we're better than this.
Yeah.
We don't need to be.
And why we're trashing our own place, our own roads, and all of this to celebrate.
Exactly.
This is something that I hear about in America a lot, actually. Yeah. Like a football team will win, like the. Now you're testing me around no football team names. I do. San Francisco 49ers. Right. But it's not them. I'm trying to remember exactly who it is. It might actually be them. And whenever they win or anything, they trash the whole town, the whole city. It gets crazy where they're ripping down lampposts. It will be as if they were protesting something, but they're not. They're actually just celebrating a win. And I'm like, okay, if that's fandom going a little bit too far.
Because it was more like England fans were worse when they won. Like when they lost, it was just somber and people went home.
Exactly.
And then people people around the country and around Europe, around the world, was beginning to be like, England's a bit. And they're not. There was also a video of a guy who decided to go on top of a bus. It was a park bus. Yeah. And he's like, "Who's coming home? Who's coming home?" And then did you see the video? And he jumps on the bus stop and goes through it. No,
I've not seen it, mate. That's pure comedy.
Yeah. So things like that, and then and you're just thinking, it's not the greatest. And then everywhere. Everyone's going, it's coming home, which is fine, and I love it's coming home because it reminds me of when I was a kid. You know, that's when it came out in 1996. It's coming home it was a song about because football was invented in England supposedly. So then the tournament was in England. That's what it was about. It's coming home, and then they've kind of used it to be football's coming home. It's kind of used it to be like. If we win, we're bringing the tournament, the trophy home. Doesn't really make sense because the trophy's not English.
No, I know what you mean. But then it was like we were the pioneers of this. We were the best at one point, and now that.
Well, for that one week at the beginning,
when we invented it, and now that badge of honour has been all around the world, and we haven't been the best for a long time. Let's bring that best title back home. That's how I read into it. So it does make sense.
Yeah,
to me.
but I think as well for a lot of people that are older as well, it's just a bit of fun as well. Yeah. But then the rest of the world saw it as football's a global sport. Why is it coming home because you're winning? Football doesn't have a home. Football's global. That's how people saw it.
But also like outside, I'm trying to think. Don't we use? I use that. Not me, but that phrase is used outside of like a football context. If you say bring it home, it just means to win. Yeah. So there's something there.
Yeah, I guess so. Bring it home, yeah. It's coming home, isn't it?
It's coming home. So, you know what? To be honest, that actually started to get on my nerves, and I only found myself saying that like by accident, like ironically, obviously, to open up this episode. But also, I drew England in the sweepstakes at work.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I was like, and then what's it called? One of my colleagues, she got Nigeria. And I was going to say, should we swap? But I didn't want to swap. I was just going to buy her out and say, let me have both of those teams. But I had them, and then they were doing well in it. So at some point, someone was like, you're doing really good in the sweepstakes, aren't you? And I was like, it's coming home. Yeah. And then I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was so disappointed. I was you managed yourself. Yeah, exactly.
You managed not to say that. You're like, oh my God.
Exactly. I managed not to say that for weeks. I don't know.
I got South Korea in the sweepstakes.
Oh, you did, yeah.
But in our sweepstakes, it was the first prize whoever won it, and second prize was the worst team.
Oh, is it?
And South Korea is the worst. Like it's not because they're not the best and they're not the worst.
Yeah, exactly.
So you wanted either Panama, and the winners of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So
But hold on, so. Whoever got what do you mean worse? Not scored any goals?
Most goals conceded and points. So,
I like that.
Well, yeah, because otherwise, you if you get these countries, you're like, oh, well, that's me.
What am I going to do?
But you could think, oh, they could be the worst.
Oh, all right. I think we might have to update our sweepstakes next time round.
Come on, man, sort it out. So there's that. That they're not being the gracious in victory. And then I listened to this podcast about it was like a BBC football podcast, and they were saying 1 out of 1 to 10, and they had like a international panel. It was like Japanese, Mexican, Italian, all these different. I don't know what the Italian was doing there, but and then it was 1 to 10. How annoying were the English during the World Cup, and they all said 9.
Seriously,
8, except for the Japanese were very nice, and she said, "Oh no, they should celebrate, so it's okay."
But then hold on, were they people who were in Russia who experienced it?
No.
Or they saying from what you saw in the media?
For people here,
so people living in London,
yeah, because of
being surrounded by England fans. How annoying were they?
Because they were doing it to coming home, and also did you hear what Modric said after the semi-final?
Yeah, I heard him. He was talking about how England was a little bit they overestimated themselves and they were a little bit arrogant even.
And the thing is, the day before was a France game, and then people were the pundits were talking about. So how can England beat this France team as if Croatia won't play? And then obviously. They've seen it's coming home thing and not seen it as a joke. They've seen it like, oh, they just think they're going to win. They repeatedly said that Croatia will be tired because of there being in extra time. Like to say a sportsman's tired, that's an insult. You can't say that to a sportsman.
It is, but then
they're going to be tired. They're questioning their stamina.
You're right. But tactically, you would talk about that, like
for
their own team.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have played 2 matches. Here's one where there's an opportunity for you to get a rest. They'll talk about that internally like that. You may be tired having played 2 days ago compared to someone who hasn't played for 5 days. Yeah. So even internally you'll talk about it like that. So it's understandable that you can try and talk about tiredness in another team or fatigue in another team. But I think that's like the lowest level of tactic. You shouldn't be pinning your whole hopes on how tired someone is. They're prolific, world-class footballers. Tiredness is at the bottom of the list. The whole reason that you can deal with extra time is because you've just now, minutes ago, finished 90 minutes worth of football, but then you carry on for an extra 30. So who cares if you played an extra 30? A couple days down the road, you're going to be recovered. But when it comes to talking about games that are won on marginal gains. Games might be won on marginal gains. The smallest thing makes the difference. You can talk about the tiredness, but you can't pin your hopes on that, mate. That shouldn't be top of the tactic list.
I don't think they were either. I think it was shit. Yeah, like you said, nowadays you've got football 24/7 on the radio and on TV, so you got to go with something. But they took that to task, saying that England are arrogant, all their.
I wonder though, because if I was in another country, mate, and the team I was supporting was in the minority, and the national team fans were all around me, you would at some point feel that was irritating. How do you expect the national team to be? Like
but they're celebrating, and then there's going overboard, But then, so then there's that. But I think the one that the reason I say the problem with supporting England, is because listener, you'll know that I'm from a mixed background, and I've got a foreign sounding name, and I've got a few friends that are like that as well. And I've always found supporting England, I'll support England over any other country, like even like if they're from a country of my heritage, the Philippines, Spain, or anywhere. So I always support England, but just growing up, I've always had that thing of like even at our school, Just like, why are you supporting England for?
Yeah.
And I always get the question, if